Hey, it's me again. I told y'all like before I was gonna do multiple videos because there's multiple books I want to tell you about. Please check out my YouTube channel. It is linked on my profile page, and that's where I do book talks. Matter of fact, talking with my kids today, the 7th graders I have, most of them I had them last year, and they reminded me, you used to read to us on Thursdays and we want to get back reading. So I'm definitely going to go back to reading to them, and then I'll propose it to the other kids and we'll decide whether we want to do it. But we started an initiative at our school where we dropped everything in red on Thursdays, and it was usually for the kids to read. I noticed in my experience my kids weren't reading, so I would read to them. So again, I come on here every now and again. I'll admit it's been months to tell you about a book I read. One of the books that I have read that I realized I don't have to initially do a book talk for, but I just want to let you know that is on my YouTube page. It's on the Come Up by Angie Thomas. The way I talk about it in the last post I posted on YouTube, if you watch that one, is like what I'm currently reading now, and I talk about on the Come Up by Angie Thomas. Watch that video because that gives you enough to get you started into reading the book. Angie Thomas has written a total of 3 books. This is her 2nd one. I don't think I've read anything by her that was not good. This is a totally different spin than The Hate U Give. Is still dealing with systematic racism, dealing with people profiling, black profiling people. You have Bree, who is an up-and-coming rapper who basically took the lyrical skills of her father who was killed, and she feels a need to fulfill this career because she wants to make a better life for her family. I'm not going to get into the details, because again, on another video I have on my YouTube, which is linked in my bio, I talk about on the Come Up. A book that I am currently reading right now, another one is called Hurricane Child. The author is Kheryn Calender. The Hurricane Child is one of those books I couldn't put it down when I first started it. I'll admit I took a break from it. But you have Caroline, who is struggling because her mother, she lives in, I'm mad I'm getting them mixed up. She lives in St. Thomas, which is off the U.S. Virgin Islands. And she has been told she's cursed. What's that to live with as a 12-year-old, been told that you're cursed? The kids pick on her at school. Her mama takes off. No one knows where her mom is. Dad doesn't really talk about it. So in her journey, she's bullied really badly at school. That just, like, even when I told my son about it, he was very upset about what the kids did to her. It's like she's ostracized because of her mom leaving. So her mom has left her. She doesn't know why, and her mission is, I need to find out why my mom left. And then a new girl, Calender, comes to school, and she has an interest in Calender, and not just as a friend, if you get what I'm saying. And but Calender, you can tell, likes her as a friend but doesn't like her like that. But what she admires about the relationship she has with Calender is the fact that Calender appreciates who she is as a person, and Calender treats her fairly, and no one at that school has done that for her. So it's a very good book. I'm kind of to the point where she's now reading up on ghosts and ancient spirits, because she feels like she sees a spirit of someone following her, a lady in a black dress, and she wonders that spirit coming to warn her about her mom. So it's almost like a ghost story in a way too. But it's called Hurricane Child. I've been reading that. I haven't finished that one yet. Another one I've been reading, and I did not save it like I thought I did, so I'm just going to show you the name of the book. So I'm just going to show you the book. I think I've told y'all about this one before. This one's called Spin by Lamar, Giles. I'll admit this one, even though it comes off very interesting, it's been a struggle to read. Lamar, Giles, pretty much in this book, you have the main character who is a DJ, and she is found dead on her turntables. So her name is Paris, second DJ Parsec, and two people that, one is her best friend, one was like her publicist. They have to join forces to find out who killed DJ Parsec. So I'm gonna admit I'm still in the beginning, and I've had this book for several months. It's not that it's hard to read. It doesn't push me to want to keep reading in a page turner. You do want to find out what happened to DJ Parsec, because she was only 18 years old, was on the top of her career, was on the rise as a DJ, and she dropped a hit, and all of a sudden she turns up dead. And at first, the two people that were on her side, the best friend and the publicist, and those main characters' names are, and I apologize, I don't know off the top of my head, Fuse and Kaya. And they have a feud against each other to the point they're battling on social media. They're going against each other. It's like one is blaming the other one for DJ Parsec's death. And you have to find, and eventually they have to come together to figure out what happened to DJ Parsec. Again, it sounds interesting. You may like it, but I'll admit it's hard for me to read. Another book that I just started this last night. This has been on my shelf for years. And I made it a point, in the midst of buying new books, I was going to take the time to read books that I had on my shelf for years and I haven't read it. This one's called Trouble in My Way by Michelle Stimpson. It starts off, which it reminds me of my teenage years. It starts off with the main character, which I'm sorry, I don't remember her name, Kheryn. Kheryn wrote in her diary about how she lied to her mom that she was going to a football game, and she ends up going to this boy's house that she met, who she thought looked like Bow Wow. This goes to show how old this book is. She thought the boy looked like Bow Wow, but when she got close to him and went to his house, she realized he might look like Bow Wow's like third cousin. So she goes to the boy's house. He was bragging about this DVD collection he had. That goes to show how old this is, DVD collection. So DVD collection, she ends up being like a whole bunch of bootleg DVDs. And the video wasn't the best. And then he turns around and he comes on to her. And immediately when he tries to come on to her, ironically, her best friend shows back up to pick her up, because she only planned to be at the boy's house in 45 minutes. And she said she wasn't feeling him. He's not that cute. Well, she wrote it down in her diary, and her mom finds it. Now, what she doesn't realize is after the fact that her mom saw the diary on the bed and thought maybe it was a homework assignment. Maybe I need to get that to her at school. And she thinks her mom is just being nosy. I identify with that, because I'll admit I used to write in a journal and a diary, and my mom would read mine. Yeah, that's another story. So it's a matter of her and the mom are bumping heads, because the mom had Kheryn when the mom was 16. And basically the mom is a minister. She doesn't want Kheryn to fall and make the same careless mistake she did. And Kheryn is like, I'm not going to be like you. First of all, we have technology now. I know better. Basically, Kheryn thinks she knows everything, and she really doesn't. And she's like how some kids think that old people or older people or moms don't understand what teenagers are going through. And the mom does. So I just started that last night. That was a very good read. The next book I want to tell you about that I started, and I'm about halfway through, Nick Stone, Never Does Me Wrong. And this book, I will admit, is very, very good. I'm surprised I haven't finished it yet, maybe because I'm reading so many books at one time. But this is her first installment of the SHURI series from Marvel. The fact that she got Marvel to say, I want you to write a book for us. Ugh. So she has actually there's a sequel coming out to this book. Basically, Shuri realizes that the purple plant that Black Panther has to take when he's stripped of his powers, or when he needs to get his powers back after a battle, she finds out that the plants are dying. Yeah, she's releasing it next year. Next year is the second book is coming out. So I've been stalking Nick Stone and Nick Stone and Angie Thomas on Instagram all summer. So, but she basically, she's 12 in this book, and she convinces T'Challa, she doesn't tell the mom, but she convinces T'Challa to let her borrow the jet so she can fly to Kenya, and she goes to meet Storm. Of course, they don't call her Storm, they call her by her African name, which I forgot. But basically, Storm is over the agriculture in her country, which is Kenya, and she basically goes to Storm to find answers on what's going on with the plant. And she needs to save the plant because Challenge Day is coming up. And there, even though they don't feel like anyone's going to challenge T'Challa, Shuri feels like she needs to find out why is this plant dying, and we need to get it together. So Shuri has a best friend who's not really a best friend, but pretty much she is a, and I might be saying this right, but this the guardsman, Dejole, I might be saying that wrong, but they basically, how T'Challa had women guards, this young lady is being trained to be Shuri's female guard when she becomes queen. So she's the same age as Shuri. She's playful. She's stronger than Shuri. She doesn't understand the point of everything, but at the same time, she wants to be liked by Shuri. So they're on this adventure to find out about the plant. And then the last book that I started reading with my kids, I need to finish it on my own, is Tristan Strong. I just found out that he's released, or he is releasing a second copy of this. I just saw this online when I pulled it up. What I like about this book with Rick Riordan, with this particular author, his name is KWAME MBALIA. This reminds me of the Percy Jackson series, but Percy Jackson was dealing with Greek gods. This book is dealing with African folklore. So some of the characters are if you heard of African folklore and some of their stories, that's what they're talking about in this book. So you have Tristan, who at the beginning of the book thinks he's a loser because he had his first boxing match. His family, his father, his grandfather know him to be boxers, and he loses. So one of his best friends was killed, and they feel like he needs time to get away. So he feel like he's being shipped off by his parents. The parents are basically sending him to his grandparents to just get away. And he notices that the journal that he got from his best friend is glowing. He doesn't know why it's glowing. And then all of a sudden one night, he's at his grandparents' house and he feels drawn to the forest, but he doesn't know why. And then he wakes up in the middle of the night to find one of the characters, because he always heard these African folklore stories told by his grandparents. And then he finds one of the characters in his bedroom trying to steal his book that's been glowing. So he chases the book and ends up in this forest, ends up in this alternate universe. And where we last stopped as a class, this was my class last year, we stopped where now he's on this ship with these people, and he's like, who are you, where am I? And they were like, we're trying to protect the book, and this is the book that his friend left. So I wish I can tell you more, but I have not read this book in months, but I just realized this is another book I need to pick up and start reading again, but I wanted to tell you about it. So again, I definitely want to say happy reading to you. If you have any questions, just email me or send me a message on my Instagram page. Again, this video will be uploaded on my YouTube page, where I just want to promote reading. Happy reading.